told that this crisis, this random cut, constitutes a crisis that's going to require dismantling successful programs like CISE, that it's going to require the layoff of faculty and staff, it's going to require defunding graduate students who've been promised appointments here. I've also heard that the cuts aren't going to be distributed equally, and that they're not going to be distributed, God forbid, distributed on the basis of program or student needs. They're going to be distributed based on the basis of a budgeting system called RCM. I've been doing some research on the politics and theory of RCM, and I'm here to tell you that RCM won't solve this problem, won't solve this crisis, because RCM is this crisis. The very theory of RCM, revenue-centered budgeting, is to subordinate academic decisions to financial considerations. The whole point of it is to ensure that at every level of the university, from the board of trustees down through colleges and departments and individual faculty members, that everybody prioritizes financial concerns over what's best academically, over academic quality. So now we're told, hold on, I don't have much time. What RCS does is insource crisis. It moves crisis not just laterally, but also vertically. It makes use of crisis in order to force people into making unacceptable choices. And it shoves crisis down from the top level of the organization down to the lowest level. It shoves crisis down into departments where faculty members are forced to make impossible choices among unacceptable alternatives, and then it calls this empowerment. We see at UF very recently too many examples of this trend. My own department, English, this last month, we were told that we had to lay off half of the office staff, right? So our chair was told, you have to fire 3 people, but the good news is you get to pick which 3 people to fire. Yeah. Something was wrong with him. He didn't feel empowered by that. So, this is a familiar form of agency, I think. It's unpleasant, but it's not unfamiliar. It's consumer agency, right? It's the kind of choice where you get to pick Coke, or Cherry Coke, or Coke Zero, or Diet Coke, or Diet Cherry Coke, but they're all bad for you. That's the option we're being given here, right? Should we fire staff? Should we fire students? Should we defund GAs? Should we dismantle this successful program or some other successful program? No! What should we do? We're here today because we reject this false choice, this false consumer agency. We're here because we understand that the task before us now is not to make better choices about what to cut or who to cut, but our task now is to come together and change the set of choices that is possible to make. U.S. Chief Financial Officer says that drastic cuts are necessary now because the reserves can't be spent, because that money has all been committed. It's been allocated, he says, for future expenses, like that swimming pool for the family. What I want to know is what about the GAs and CISE, who uprooted their lives, and in many cases their families, and moved to Gainesville because they were promised funding in the form of a set stipend for a specified number of years.